Attention denizens of planet Earth.
Broadcasting from Carbondale in Southern Illinois' premier comic shop. And now your host, superlative shaman of comic book knowledge, Dan Brown. Flash the match signal in case of emergency for your host with the most on his mind, Matt Morton. Watch out, criminals. There's nothing funny to him about truth, justice, and the American way. It's Commander Harris himself, Scott Reed. And tuning in from the far reaches of no man's land, the mad scientist dream leader, Mike No. This is Campus Comics Cast.
Okay, so this is going to be a solo episode of the Campus Comics Cast. This is Scott Reed coming to you from in front of his computer. We are still casting for Campus Comics, located at 816 East Main Street at Suite B, Carbondale, Illinois. Mike No can be reached at 618-457-6011. I want to start this podcast with, let me give you a rundown. So we're going to talk about some things that are going on at the shop. I'm going to talk about some of the news that's going on related to the direct market right now that you probably, if you aren't already aware of, should be aware of. And then to kind of end on a more positive note, we're going to talk about, I keep saying we as if there's somebody else here that I can talk to. I'm going to talk about the advanced edition of Firepower that was sent out to comic shops, and kind of give you a taste of what you can expect from that book whenever it hits the shelves, whenever that may be. So that leads me right into the first thing. So I'm just going to read this announcement from Mike. This is something he posted straight to the Campus Comics page on Facebook. So hello everyone, Mike here. I want to let everyone know about some changes we'll be making here at Campus Comics. As of the April previews order deadline, which is Friday the 24th, we will be ordering only for subscription pulls and special orders. There will no longer be any shelf books. In other words, if you want to try something, you need to let us know so we can order it. I hope everyone understands and is staying safe. Thank you. So this is for sure at least going to be for the near future until the new normal gets established after the whole COVID-19 pandemic and kind of where we see how things fall out. So it is something to keep in mind. So it's super important now that you take a look, at the previews catalog, and if there's a book that you plan to get monthly, you need to let Mike know definitely before April 24th, because if you're used to going in and pulling it off the shelves, there's a real strong chance that it won't be there on the shelves. So we're talking April, May for the June books. Okay, so today I'm recording this on April 6th. So hopefully that will give you kind of enough of a time frame there to help spread that news to anybody that you know, and just make sure that everybody understands that, again, there are some weird things going on with Diamond and the direct market industry, and it is having a dramatic impact on comic shops. So let's just go ahead and hit into that. Now, Matt Martin, and I really wish that Matt and I could have worked out, doing some type of recording through Skype or something like that. But if you aren't aware, we normally do all of our recordings through just in person. We record live. If you've ever listened to any podcast where they do the Skypes and they're not sitting in the same room, well, quite honestly, sometimes the audio really suffers, and there's that lack of, I don't know if the interaction sometimes is a little bit forced because you have those constant no you go ahead pause type of thing where people are trying to figure out when they should and shouldn't be talking. And that isn't as bad whenever you have everybody in the same room talking to each other. So we've chosen normally just to record together. So, and we plan to, once things get back to whatever the new normal is going to be, we do plan to get back to, in-person recordings. All right. So anyway, so back to the news. In case you missed it, which I can't imagine if you pay any attention to comic news, but about 2 weeks ago, basically Diamond stopped accepting books from the publishers. So Steve Geppi, who's the chairman and CEO of Geppi Family Enterprises and founder of Diamond Comic Distributors, which basically is 95+% of responsibility. They do the previews catalog of getting comics to direct market stores. So as a result of COVID-19, they basically shut their doors and said that we, for the foreseeable future, are not going to be taking in any product from the distributors. So there are supposed to, and even what they have, and my understanding what they have in the warehouses, is not actually being shipped out to publishers. So they theoretically have all of the April comics, or the majority of the April comics, in their warehouses at this point, waiting to be shipped out. So they are not taking in the books, that are going to be for May for the foreseeable future. Additionally, Diamond announced that they weren't going to be making any payments to the comic publishers for books. So that made it very clear that Diamond is in a situation where they are basically, as normal people would describe it, living paycheck to paycheck. They are basically using, the money they take in one week to pay for the books they're getting in that week. So this has led to several rumors. My favorite rumor was, I thought whenever Matt Martin sent this to me, this was a joke. He said, "Yeah, one of the rumors is that the Penguin is going to buy him." So I'm immediately thinking, the Penguin? That's a joke. Ha, DC Comics, right? Ha ha ha. No, but there's apparently a Penguin investment group that was actually, there's rumors, and again I think it's just rumors, that was going to possibly buy out Diamond. So as far as I know, there's not any new news on that front. However, there is, and most of this information is coming from Bleeding Cool. So with Bleeding Cool, you can take that with whatever validity that you want to. But again, as of today, Diamond paid 25% of what they owe publishers and take a pay cut. So this is by Rich Johnston, and I'll just read you the first paragraph here directly off the Bleeding Cool website. Steve Geppi is the founder, chairman, and CEO of Geppi Family Enterprises. He is also the owner of Diamond Comic Distributors. 2 weeks ago, Diamond closed its door to new comics as part of the current global situation. They also made redundancies. Last week, Diamond told publishers that they would cease payment for product received. This happened while Diamond simultaneously demanded payments from retailers, many of whom have also closed. Bleeding Cool hears about publishers that may have to close down entirely as a result. So this is having a widespread impact on the industry. Your comic book shops are being forced to close with the stay-in-place orders that all but, I think the last number I've heard, all but 9 states have instituted, and most of those 9 states are states with lower populations that really don't have a whole lot of comic book shops anyway. So the majority of comic book shops in the country are being forced close. Some of them are offering curbside service. Some of them are still doing mail order. If just so you know, Mike is planning on working at the shop fairly regularly, just to kind of keep things in maintenance mode. So you can always give him a call if he happens to be there. He would be happy to meet you at the door and let you get your stuff that you maybe couldn't get picked up before, things kind of shut down. And again, the phone number for the shop, 618-457-6011. Or, of course, you can message Mike on Facebook. So, anyway, comic shops are having to close. They're not getting in new product. They're being forced to close. And, of course, with no new product coming in, they don't have new money coming in. So they are having a tough time making the payments to Diamond. Diamond is in turn having a tough time making payments to the publishers for the products that they're getting in that they're supposed to be distributing to the comic book shops. So again, this is a really, really tough time for the comic book industry. Again, Matt Martin is the one of the three of us, myself, Matt, and Dan, that really kind of has his finger on the pulse, per se, of what's going on in the industry more than the rest of us. Myself, I'm more of a, give me the stuff to read and take a look at as I have time. I don't pay a whole lot of attention to, the industry itself, but this is something that's going to have an effect. So, whenever all this, plays out over the next, it's April 6th. Most of us are, stay in place until, what is it? April 30 days has September, April. So April 30th. So we're looking at May 1st, which is a Friday, is the chance where things might start opening back up. And that's assuming that we don't get another extension of the stay in place. If the curve doesn't flatten, here in the next week or two, then that could end up could be extended here inside in the U.S. And that is, of course, going to have an even more dramatic impact. But your comic shops are looking at being closed for more than a month by the time this all plays out. I think it's closer to like 5 or 6 weeks. I don't even remember now what date this all started. So anyway, so again, the things to be thinking about, if you're a listener to this podcast, a supporter of the shop, get your previews orders in, contact Mike about getting maybe your digital code out of your previews catalog. The Marvel and DC catalogs are available for free online. You do have to pay for the big book. So I guess if you're only a Marvel or DC guy, you can get those catalogs for free online. Just go to the Previews World website and you can get those catalogs. If you want the big book, you'll have to get a code. And if you already buy previews, Mike can get you the previews code. We, at least if nobody else is able to do this, I will at least go through the previews catalog probably sometime here in about over the next week, and we'll record some of my recommendations like we normally do and get that out so that you can get that order in to Mike before April 24th. All right. So I guess if you really want to get a better picture of what's going on in the industry, head over to Bleeding Cool or Comic Book Resources. They are posting fairly regularly articles about what's happening in the direct market. But if it's going to be a dramatically different direct market, come May, June, July of this year. Some other things that have been impacted, of course, if you are a comic book convention goer, you know that those aren't happening. Free Comic Book Day has been postponed at a minimum, if not canceled for this year. I set up at a lot of conventions. There was a convention in Benton. That one was pushed back to June. The Dyersburg, Tennessee convention I was going to go to in May has been canceled. Superman Celebration, that's been canceled. Cape Comic Con was pushed back into July. I run a small show here in Harrisburg. I don't even know if that's going to happen this year with all the conventions being pushed back towards the back half of the year. It just may be too crowded to try to squeeze another, small local show into that. So anyway, all the comic book conventions, people are, even if they happen, people are going to be a little bit more hesitant about going to a large gathering. So again, dramatic change to the comic book market here as a result to what's going on with COVID-19. So I feel like at this point, if I keep talking on this particular topic, I'm just going to start repeating myself. So let's move on to something a little bit more positive. Of course, it will have a few negative comments related to what's going on in the world, but myself, Dan, Matt Martin had agreed to we actually agreed and read a new book called Firepower from Robert Kirkman and Chris Samnee. Now, we had originally scheduled to get together and talk about this book all at once, but we just weren't able to get together last time that we scheduled. We decided just to honor the stay in place. This book was this is an advance edition that was sent out to comic book shops. So Mike got a copy in at Campus Comic, shared it with the three of us, so that we were actually able to read it. I liked it well enough that I actually went on to eBay and bought a advanced edition. So, you know, those, even though it has that sticker or the sign in the upper right hand corner that says advanced edition, not for resale, there are a few shops out there that are selling them online. Actually, they aren't terribly expensive. You know, usually like a first trade from Image is going to cost you about $10. I think I paid 20 for my copy, you know, so I figured, you know, the full price plus, you know, shipping. So that's not too terribly bad of a deal for a price on a trade back paperback, especially one that is, you know, has a lower distribution than what some of the others are. Now, this book was originally scheduled to come out the week before Free Comic Book Day. And of course, comics are not going to be shipping in April. And then there was going to be a Free Comic Book Day special for Firepower as well. All right, so again, back to the book. So again, Robert Kirkman, Chris Samnee. Now, one of the things that I think Robert Kirkman does, and he actually does this fairly well, is he takes other people's ideas and jumbles them together to kind of put a fresh take on something. So, for example, Kirkman is best known for Walking Dead. Well, in my opinion, all Walking Dead is a combination of 28 Days Later along with the TV series Jericho. 28 Days Later, I mean, gosh, the guy wakes up in his room, hospital room. I mean, that scene is right there in 28 Days Later. You have the whole towns and little groups of individuals that are fighting against each other. That kind of gets pulled from Jericho. People coming through saying that they're, you know, part of the government or they're part of the rescue or whatever. So, but it worked for quite a while. Now, for me, Walking Dead kind of jumped the shark right at issue 100. And it kind of, you know, really went downhill from there. There probably were some good moments after that. But I say all that to say that what you basically have with Firepower is a combination of Iron Fist, some pieces from Daredevil, some pieces from the Karate Kid. You know, it's definitely a mishmash of those ideas. So you start off, you just have the main character basically, you know, going through the frozen Himalayas, and this, you know, you could almost, these initial several pages could really have just be pulled straight from Marvel Premiere 15, where you have Danny Rand and his parents, you know, walking through the snow. Of course, it's just one individual here instead of a group of actually four individuals for Marvel Premiere. But you know, our character, he basically arrives and meets up with what you assume is going to be his mentor, which he could have basically could just be Stick from Daredevil. Now he's a slightly hipper version of Stick, but he's carrying a stick, he's wearing Nikes, and he's got headphones and what could basically be Kunlun from Iron Fist. So you have the guy who's searching for the mystical area to actually find, you know, his martial arts trainer. All right, so immediately, you know, we basically have a fight between this new arrival and the Mr. Miyagi clone and Mr. Miyagi / Stick clone. All right. But the new arrival is basically able to prove his worth. The guy is something of the mentor is going to be something of a little bit of comic relief. He basically takes the new arrival's iPod, and I guess I should stop saying new arrival. So Owen Johnson is our main character, right? And the name of the mentor, the Mr. Miyagi character, and I'm embarrassed now because I have forgotten his name. Okay, so the master's name is Wei Lun, and I probably am butchering that name, but anyway, so they fight. Owen has to fight Wei Lun to basically prove that he deserves to be here. He fights well enough, but you also learn that Wei Lun is not unfamiliar with Western attitudes. Again, he was carrying a headphone. He knows what an iPod is. There's kind of a joke here between Owen and Wei Lun about he asks if it works, and he tries to explain to him that it's an iPod, and he says he knows what it is. He also asks if he has any bubble gum. So there's a little bit of humor, but Owen basically begins the process of training and immediately meets one of the other students there, and her name is Ling Zan. All right, so there is the love interest for Owen Johnson. Now, romantic relationships are obviously strictly forbidden here. Now, fairly early into the story, we get introduced to a stone pillar that has a portion of the pillar melted away. So Owen asks, "What's that all about?" And basically, Wei Lun says nothing and moves on. So you know that's going to be a plot point later on. So this is where you start getting introduced to the concept of the flaming fist, as opposed to the iron fist. It's the flaming fist. We also learned that there is a quote-unquote dragon that is locked away inside of the temple, and that nobody is supposed to go into this area. There's a special dragon keeper outside that guards the door. So Owen's asleep one night, basically hears some stuff that is going on outside, looks, and there is Master Wei Lun at that stone pillar where he is attempting to basically recreate the flaming fist. So the master tells him to go back to sleep. So Owen starts his training. Basically, they are all training, being able to try to recreate this and find the new flaming fist. They all have some particularly interesting skills. They can slice through cubes of ice without breaking them. They have exceptional balance. The relationship between Ling and Owen, moves forward. Basically, you get the whole gist of what's going on with the flaming fist. There's a bully there for Owen who, doesn't like the newcomer. Still just kind of flipping through. We get a little bit more about the history about the flaming fist. At one point, Owen tries to go in and get a look at the dragon. And, apparently that was a really, really bad idea. He gets ejected from that room. Owen does kind of begin to gain the respect of, the other students by his perseverance. And then we kind of get to the big climactic moment where the hidden temple here gets attacked. So it's a group of individuals that are trying to basically free the dragon. All right. So they, nearly succeed. And then when we get to this big moment where you have Owen is actually able to, surprise, release the flaming fist and kind of save the day. So basically it ends up, him being the main character, that he is the one that would have that skill. Now, so that gets us through. Okay, this is an oversized graphic novel, and that gets us through all but about the last 4 or 5 pages. So this is kind of where it takes the turn. So it goes from being this Mr. Miyagi, or Karate Kid, Iron Fist, Daredevil, Mishmash, and they jump 15 years later. So here you have Owen and Ling, and they're basically in a suburb. He's outside grilling. They've got a couple of kids. He still has the skill because he fires up the grill and uses the skill. And then you see something like a ninja hidden in a tree that is watching Owen. Owen feels like there is something going on and looks, doesn't see anything, walks back into his house, and that's where the story ends. So, again, it's one that I kind of went into with, I'll be honest, kind of went to it with low expectations. I knew there was going to be a little bit of Iron Fist. I knew there was going to be a little bit of, maybe even like Avatar: The Last Airbender feel to it. The Chris Samnee art is terrific, but it does really feel like it could be for an Avatar: The Last Airbender comic book. The mentor Wei Lun, he is Stick meets Mr. Miyagi, but for whatever reason, it really, really works. Like I said, I enjoyed the Advanced OGN enough that since I had to give Mike back his copy, I just went online and bought my own. So I think it's really, really good. I think it's going to be a really, really fun book to read. However, I do have a little bit of concern because we got that 15-year jump at the end. So are we going to get a lot of back and forth between what happened before and what's happening now? Is the story just going to go from now on? Because this book is titled Prelude. Originally, again, the first issue was scheduled to be out the week before Free Comic Book Day, and then there was going to be a Free Comic Book Day version which would have part of the story in it as well. That's all been pushed back, but this is something to definitely consider adding to your list if you are, if you like Iron Fist, Avatar, Last Airbender, martial arts comics. It's good. If you like Chris Samnee artwork, that is obviously really, really good. And of course, if you like Kirkman, that is good as well. And Kirkman has a little bit of pull in the industry now, the television and movie industry now, due to Walking Dead. So this is something that others might be interested in jumping on for, like a TV series as well. So there you have it. I think it's a good read. I would suggest that you pick it up. Hopefully at some point in the future we'll get Matt and Dan's opinion on the book. Sorry I stumbled through it just a little bit, but hopefully it gives you enough idea that you can decide if it's something that you might want to pick up or not. So I'm going to wrap this up now. So again, just as a reminder, if you have anything at Campus Comics that you'd like to try to get picked up between now and April 30th, try calling the shop. The phone number 618-457-6011. Mike is also available through Facebook Messenger, so you can just message Mike directly on Facebook. If you, at this point, we're moving forward like the previews catalog is going, we're going to put in orders just like we always have in the past. So the previews cutoff date is April 24th. So you can go now on Previews World and get your Marvel and DC digital copies of the previews catalog, flip through those, and since at least for the foreseeable future, there aren't going to be a lot of books available on the shelf. So if there's something that you see in those catalogs that you want, you need to get that order in with Mike. So again, call him at the shop, message him on Facebook. All right. Now, if you want to track me down, you can find me on Facebook at Burg Comics, BURG Comics, and then also online, burgcomics.com. I've got a for sale group on Facebook, just Burg Comics, buy, sell, trade. I'm posting books for sale right now almost every day, and usually multiple books every single day. You can also find me on Instagram, You can find links to that stuff all on my website, burgcomics.com, burgcomics.com. Matt Martin, if you want to reach out to Matt, he would definitely be happy to talk to you about what's going on with the industry. You can reach him at Wookie Copilot on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. So you can definitely get a hold of Matt that way. And then Dan Brown can be found on Twitter and Instagram at Detective651. And then, of course, you should be checking out Dan's t-shirt shop. That can be found on tpublic.com/user/detective651. So, Dan's got a bunch of great t-shirt ideas. I picked up a Rocketeer one from him not too long ago. I need to actually get online and order myself another one as well. Another shirt of some shape, form, or fashion. But they are great designs, and he is cycling some of those designs, in and out, just to kind of keep things fresh on that TeePublic site. So if you see something that you like, you might not want to wait to order it. And generally at any given time, they're offering 15 to 30% off of shirts on TeePublic. So, all right. So thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed the review of Firepower. And again, just because of the importance of this, I'm going to say it one more time. If you are, wanting to support the shop, then you need to take a look at the previous catalogs. You need to get those orders into Mike by April 24th, and we'll have or at least I will have some previews recommendations coming up here sometime in the near future.